Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a massive paradigm shift in one of the absolute most thrilling narratives we've covered yet. We're talking about a sequence of events that takes our protagonist from being just a lonely wanderer straight to the dead center of a cosmic war. It is a story of hidden power, ancient lineages, and a destiny that literally balances on the edge of fire and ice. Get ready, because the lore we're diving into today is incredibly dense, highly dramatic, and just absolutely fascinating.
Right off the bat, I want to hook you with this menacing realization from one of the story's deadliest antagonists, the Shadow Warrior. He says, "You are not just an ordinary cultivator." And honestly, this single line changes everything. Up until this exact moment, we, and honestly the protagonist himself, completely believed he was just a lone orphan trying to survive in a harsh world. But this quote, it hints at a massive, world-altering secret that's about to be unveiled. So how exactly does he go from a struggling boy to a full-blown cosmic anomaly? Let's trace the steps.
Kicking things off with Part 1, The Valley's Little Protector, a rescue in the snow.
I want you to imagine the harsh, freezing winds of the White Valley. The air bites like an icy dagger. But inside our protagonist, Himu, there's this strange warmth pushing him forward. He follows a painful cry down a snowy slope and makes a startling discovery. It's a terrified white lion cub with striking blue stripes, completely cornered at the mouth of a cave. But it isn't just the cub that matters here. It's the psychological trigger it pulls in Himu. Seeing this small, completely defenseless creature cornered like that instantly flashes him back to his own deep trauma. You know, the times he was surrounded and bullied by older boys back at the orphanage. That empathy just boils his blood. He literally cannot just walk away.
But we have to look at the overwhelming odds he's facing. 5. That is the number of massive, starving ice wolves whose eyes are just burning with hunger as they surround this tiny cub. So you've got 5 to 6 monstrous predators against one boy and a baby animal that can't even defend itself. I mean, talk about the worst possible time to go for a walk, right? The threat level here is absolute. And as one massive wolf lunges directly at Himu, he terrifyingly closes his eyes and just throws his hand up in a totally desperate bid for survival. And boom! Just as the wolf lunges, the snake stone hanging on Himu's chest suddenly blazes to life. It releases this massive shockwave of blue energy, literally launching the heavy wolf into the air and tossing it aside like a rag doll. The remaining wolves are completely terrified by this unexplainable, raw power, so they just tuck their tails and vanish right into the dark. Himu's instinct to protect didn't just save a life here, it triggered the very first glimpse of a hidden power lying dormant deep within him.
Moving right along to Part 2, Ancient Soul Pact, a Forgotten Legacy.
So with the immediate danger gone, Himu scoops the trembling little cub up. But the second they touch, there's this strange tingling sensation. Deep within Himu's sea of soul, the Ice Emperor fully awakens, and he is completely shocked. He realizes this cub, Shardul, is actually a miraculous hybrid, a cross between the ancient lion and the celestial tiger. This specific magical species was thought to have been completely extinct from the universe for centuries. And even crazier? In the Emperor's past life, his most trusted general and soul partner actually belonged to this exact, rare lineage. A general who sacrificed his own life to save the Emperor. And now, wild enough, destiny has placed his descendant right in Himu's arms.
Because of this deep historical tie, the Emperor initiates what's called an Ancient Soul Pact. Think of it as a deep magical binding where life forces completely merge, exchanging energy for ultimate loyalty. So the first of the 10 mysterious seals on Himu's body, the Ice Seal, starts to glow. A cord of blue light literally connects Himu's hand to the cub's heart. Their life forces are now permanently interwoven, and Himu promises to protect this ancient legacy.
But of course, peace in the White Valley never lasts. That brings us to Part 3, Attack of the Shadow Warriors. The Fire Empire strikes.
Suddenly, that sweet smell of fresh snow is entirely replaced by a bitter, dark, and super heavy energy. The cub's blue fur stands on end. The Ice Emperor shouts a warning in Himu's mind. Hunters have arrived. And these guys are terrifying. They drop in from 5 different directions. 5 elite fighters covered in dark, metallic armor, edged with glowing, burning symbols. And they are moving so incredibly fast, they don't even touch the snow. They literally just float above it. These are the Shadow Warriors of the Fire Empire, and they've tracked the scent of cultivators for one specific reason: to steal the ancient, supposedly extinct bloodline of the cub Himu just saved.
The escalation here is just ruthlessly fast. First, the warriors form a tactical formation totally surrounding Himu. Second, they unleash dark spirit binds, these crushing cages of dense black magical energy that act like a suffocation trap for Himu and the cub. Third, hearing his tiny companion cry out in pain from the crushing weight, something inside Himu snaps. His first ice seal loudly cracks. And finally, the breaking point. An absolute explosion of blue energy completely shatters the black magical binds like fragile glass.
Which brings us to the most explosive turning point of the lore. Part 4, Awakening of the Ice Fire, the impossible bloodline.
Here is where the biggest secret of the story is finally revealed to everyone. The audience, the villains, even Himu's own mentor. Seeing this blue aura, the Shadow Warrior leader actually recoils in terror. He realizes Himu possesses the royal blood of the Ice Emperor, a lineage their fire empire was ordered to wipe out centuries ago. Panicking, the 5 warriors infuse their swords with immense fire energy and lunge to execute this ice prince. Himu throws his hands up, expecting a wall of ice to protect him. But instead, a terrifying burning sensation rips through his right side. It is an absolute impossible duality. Himu possesses the royal blood of both the ice lineage and the fire lineage. No way, right?
So, what actually happens when these two fiercely opposing forces exist in one body? You get what the text calls ice-fire. Imagine a power so contradictory, so catastrophic, that it is literally freezing to the touch, but hot enough to turn solid metal into ash. As the warriors attack, Himu shoots out blue flames. The environment just snaps, the air instantly freezes solid, while the ground simultaneously melts. With a massive boom, the warriors' fire-infused swords completely vaporize on contact, and their heavy armor just melts away.
Okay, so Himu has survived. He is a walking paradox, a force that could upend the entire universe. But this incredible survival comes at a massive cost. The defeated, dying warrior leader manages to pull out a signal flare, shooting a bright red sphere high into the sky above the valley. Himu's existence as a cosmic anomaly is no longer a secret. It has just been broadcasted directly to his absolute deadliest enemies.
This brings the immediate battle to a close, but opens up an infinitely larger narrative. Part 5, Approaching the Cosmic War, the true enemy revealed.
As a terrifying silence falls over the charred valley, the Ice Emperor speaks to Himu. He tells him that the power he just unleashed is barely a drop in the ocean of his true potential. Because the true enemy isn't just a band of wandering warriors. It's a massive empire combining the Dragon lineage and the Dark Shadow lineage, ruled by the Dragon King. This is the entity that wiped out Himu's ancestors and is just waiting for his seals to break so he can absorb his power. To survive this, Himu desperately needs to find an ally, Rudra, the direct descendant of the Serpent King Vasuki.
So what does this all mean? Well, it's an entirely new call to action for our hero. Himu's cosmic mission is now crystal clear. He must defeat the Dragon King, he must find Rudra, and together they must unlock the remaining Sheshnog seals on Himu's body. Looking out over the mountains toward the glowing towers of Sheshnog the Yupith, Himu makes a vow. With the little ancient cub safely in his arms, he takes a massive leap from the mountain peak. He is no longer an orphan boy. He is transformed into a warrior striding toward his cosmic destiny.
Which leaves us with this massive hanging question. Will Himu actually be able to safely break his remaining seals, master the incredibly volatile ice fire inside him, and unite with Rudra to save the universe, or will the Dragon King harvest his power first? The stakes have literally never been higher, and I absolutely cannot wait to explore what happens next. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep your eyes peeled for our next deep dive into this incredible lore.